listening to Reality Wrap. I'm your host, Melanie. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into Reality Wrap. Today we will be recapping last night's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 13, Episode 9. I have Sideshow Sean today with us.
How are we doing tonight, folks?
We also have the dogs in our office, so I apologize in advance if they make any noise. I did try to kick them out, but Sean was like a big softie and said, "Oh, let them stay." So
Sideshow Sean is a dog lover.
So am I, but I am a realistic podcaster and know that Samson will be fine, but Odin at some point is going to start making noise.
Oh, I think they bring a certain charm and je ne sais quoi to the show.
I don't know about that. So anyways, if you guys hear some dog noises, that would be why. So
that can was me because Melanie doesn't clean up her area. Ever.
I have a bit of a can problem on my desk here.
Soon it'll be a pyramid. Right now it's just a can wall. But as we go to the second layer, we'll have a can pyramid, and then if you grow, it'll be a can cube. So,
I'm reliving my college days when you would stack beer cans.
I was there for those dirty days.
So I'm feeling like I need Beverly Hills to take off already. I feel like we've been rolling down the runway for like 9 episodes now. And there's really like not much going on in this show other than Sutton's esophagus. I'm like, all right, guys, it's time to move off the esophagus conversation.
Yeah, I agree. It's another slow episode.
Here we go. Odin's making noise, guys. Odin, you might have to be kicked out. Keep it up, buddy. Also, the music they were playing in this episode, and maybe they've been playing it in every episode up until this point, and I've just never noticed it, but it's very Vanderpump Rules sounding. Like it's for like not women in their 50s. It's for like a younger crowd. I
didn't notice that. Yeah.
Oh man, I did today. All right, let's get into this recap. So this episode starts out with all the ladies doing various things. Crystal is with her daughter in the backyard. Erika's doing a photo shoot for her Vegas residency, and it was either like her assistant or maybe it was the photographer, but they tell her that Vegas hasn't seen anything like this for a while. And I was like, are you kidding me? Vegas is full of like killer shows. Like she only did 11 weekends or 11 dates or something like that.
Well, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean it is, but
it's a longer residency than I've had.
Very true. That is true. But you're also not a performer, so.
No.
We then see Sutton on her first date using her matchmaker, and this guy seemed nice enough. He was a little bit on the odd side. He talked about his mom a lot. Like even for his 50th birthday, he went to Vegas with his 88-year-old mom, and they went to a topless show. I was like, dude, that's like a little weird. And then he also talked about like how much he sweats. I was like...
So you could have removed the word little when you said weird.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Who goes to Vegas with their parent for
No one. Well, with their Vegas, fine. Go see
right,
a show,
but for your
gamble.
50th birthday?
Let's go to a topless bar?
Yeah.
And it's mom? Not like dad's creepy enough.
Yeah.
She took mom.
Yeah.
What were you thinking, son?
I don't know, but I was like, oh, man. And I'm sure he was a really nice guy, and honestly, Sutton is like so weird herself that I'm like, you know, maybe it would have worked. She had absolutely no interest in this guy. And like, she was way more interested in her driver. She talked about kissing than she was interested in this guy.
I actually think that's a nice story.
What I think Sutton should do, instead of getting this matchmaker, is just go out and start finding like some burly construction guys or firemen or someone like that, and just like...
So the pile driver.
Get her pipes cleaned for like a good couple of months. And then worry about finding like a serious relationship. That's what I would do.
We know. Trust me. Duh.
Anyway, yeah. So if I were her, I'd go back to my matchmaker and be like, excuse me, honey. Keep looking. Kyle has Anne-Marie and Dorit come over. Anne-Marie tries to pet one of Kyle's dogs and it tries to bite her. And this kind of bugged me because Kyle was like, oh, what just happened? And she's like, oh, well, your dog just tried to bite my hand. And I'm like, Kyle really should have picked the dog up and removed it from the area. We have big dogs and one of our dogs is not the friendliest. So I always make a point of telling everybody, don't pet the dog.
It doesn't matter if
until
the dog
he
is
gets
the friendliest. You should always introduce your dogs to new people, in a nice, safe way. You don't just let them roam around the house.
Especially if the dog has a propensity to bite people, which
clearly it seems to.
I'm sure it does. And she just kind of didn't do anything. She just let it keep roaming around. I was like, wow, you're not a very responsible dog owner, Kyle.
Which is shocking.
I know, right? I mean, she has 20 dogs. She has a lot of dogs. She has a lot of German Shepherd mixes. I think she has at least 3.
Do you think Vanderpump's dogs bite?
Oh, I'm sure. And Lisa probably thinks it's cute.
Oh, it's just a flesh wound, darling.
But her dogs are all this big.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
So Dorit comes in again and they start talking about Sutton's esophagus again. Dorit tells them that she's confused by the whole thing because one day she says one thing and then the next day it's something else. And in her talking head, Anne-Marie says that all of the inconsistencies with Sutton and her past is very telling. And if anyone comes close to exposing anything, she gets mad. And I'm like, wait a minute, you've met Sutton one time, and the one time you met her, you chose to interrogate her about her medical issue after Kyle brought it up. So any inconsistencies that she's talking about, she heard secondhand. I mean, she just hasn't been around Sutton enough to see multiple inconsistencies. I was like, ew, Anne-Marie. I don't like you.
No, you don't like Anne-Marie.
No, and I don't like the husband that rates her.
That was terrible. I remember.
Yeah, we didn't recap last week, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but I was like, ew.
Let's touch on that really quick. So she apparently is an 8.5 across the board, but she has a 9 body.
9.5.
Whatever.
Yeah, and she was okay with that.
I mean... I don't know where to go with that.
I'd
as hard
have
as
been
that woman works on her body to not just give her the 10.
Not only that.
Dick move.
I
Sorry,
mean,
I hate to use that word and you can edit that out, but that was a douche move. For any dude to do that, as hard as anyone works, give them the 10.
This is my thing. You either don't rate your wife or you give them a 10. There is no in between. You either don't rate them or you give them a 10 because
I think that's a little bit of insight into where she's coming from. Clearly, he's not Mr. America, right? He's not the greatest guy in the world.
No.
No, I did some research.
Yeah, not with the stuff that's coming out. Yeah.
Yep, we're just waiting for that. But I don't know. I'm not in the same place you are with her. But yeah,
I do not like her. I thought what she did to Sutton last week was so inappropriate for someone who's in the medical field. And I know you're it doesn't matter that she's in the medical field or not.
If she's in the medical field and she's right and she's doing it from a place of coming to help, that was my point.
She was doing
She was
it
none of those things.
No.
Right? And that's the problem and if that's the case... Because as we looked it up, it was wrong.
Right, because Tiffany Moon from The Real Housewives of Dallas, who actually is an anesthesiologist, came out and she made, I don't know if it was a TikTok or a video or whatever, but she was like, A, she was wrong, and B, she took her medical knowledge and she weaponized it. I mean, she said it perfectly.
Right.
And I was like, yeah. And to me, I'm like, first of all, who brought up her esophagus? It wasn't Sutton, it was Kyle. And then Anne-Marie jumped on the bandwagon, and I'm like, wow, you are so inappropriate. And now you're in your talking head in this episode saying, well, there are so many inconsistencies. You've met her one time, so you don't know what the inconsistencies are. You don't know her. You're listening to Kyle.
I wonder how much of that, though, was Kyle kind of coaching and...
I also have another theory, as Dorit just was sticking her foot in her mouth all episode.
Her mouth was so big yesterday.
Oh my God,
she
it was so bad. I'm wondering if she knows that Kyle is poking at Sutton and she knows her and Kyle are growing apart, and so she's trying to get on Kyle's good side, and that's why she is also poking at Sutton, and that's why you really saw this episode. She was really coming in hot for Sutton. And here she's talking about Sutton's inconsistencies with her esophagus. I wonder if she's going so hard for Sutton because she's trying to get Kyle to
I don't know.
get close to her
It's quite
again.
possible. As these ladies do just perpetually jockey for position within the ranks of the housewives. And it all ends with the reward of who gets to stand in the center of the housewives the following season.
Yeah, or stand with the person who's...
You're either in the center or you're left of right of center.
And right now, out of all these girls, I guess Kyle kind of is.
She is.
She's the OG, right?
It used to be Vanderpump. Now it's Kyle.
Yeah. Kyle tells them about a 1-hour drama that she's producing. Dorit takes offense to this because Kyle hadn't told her about it. And then she's like, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Did you get more tattoos? And Kyle's like, actually, I did get one more. She then tells the story about Morgan and her getting a tattoo and how she put a K on Morgan. Dorit's like, you just met Morgan and now you're putting your initial on her. And clearly Dorit is threatened by Kyle's friendship with Morgan.
Couldn't agree more. But I've seen Kyle's tattoos. They're very small and there's not a lot going on there. Go get a real tattoo, Kyle. Like a really nice one.
You mean like Morgan?
Or,
she's covered from head to
toe.
Or
Whitney. Whitney has a nice tattoo.
Right here?
On her side.
What is it of? I forgot.
I don't know. You told me once. You can't.
Is
you
it
never
words?
see it. You only see parts of it.
Is it words or is it a picture?
I think it's a picture.
I think all of Kyle's tattoos have meanings. I think they're birth dates.
I couldn't imagine getting Whitney's tattoo on my ribs like that. That would tickle so bad.
I know, and she's all bone right there too.
Oh,
so you know that. Oh,
get it.
I have one on my ankle that I got when I was in college.
I've got
when
one
I was
on
drunk.
my back, but then I had someone put something over it because we got kids.
Yeah, exactly. We're now with Erika, Garcelle, and Sutton, and they are out for drinks. Erika tells them about her residency. They start talking about Denise, and Erika says that Denise needs to give up this 4-year beef that she has, and made it very clear that all she said was they are 14 years old. They know what threesomes are if they haven't had one already. And then we see the clips of when she actually said it, and that's exactly what she said. Garcelle's like, what's going to happen at Taco Tuesday when Denise shows up? And Erika's like, I am ready for whatever comes through the door. And so they continue to get buzzed. Erika brings up how it's only $7 for a bundle of nude photos of Denise Richards on OnlyFans. So it's time to go, and they ask who's driving. Sutton's like, I always bring my driver. I have my favorite driver. And Garcelle's like, oh, you mean the one you made out with? And Erika's like, bitch, what? And she starts laughing.
It was funny.
And then Garcelle grabbed Sutton's boob. Did you see that? She grabbed onto her boob. I was like, whoa, Garcelle.
Go Garcelle.
I know.
I love it.
We then see them getting ready for Taco Tuesday. Sutton is looking at Denise's OnlyFans while her glam is getting her ready.
I have to say, this was the first time I really got to see it. Sutton is a very pretty woman. When she had the light on her face and she was just sitting in that room.
That was her bathroom or something.
Yeah. I don't know what room it was, but I was remember I said last night.
Yeah, you're wow, she's really pretty without
really
makeup.
Really pretty woman, yeah.
Yeah, she does. She looks good natural.
Yeah.
The glam team cannot believe that Denise Richards is only asking for $7 for a bundle of her nudes. They're like, you would think it'd be worth more. Although I'm pretty sure she's not nude in her photos. I think somebody, was it Zach Peters' podcast? Somebody paid for it. Well, some podcaster back a long time ago when she first came out with it. And I don't think she was actually nude in them.
Well, I mean, she's been nude in movies. So
yeah, really. Just go get the free
just
clip.
Go watch the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't quite understand all
it's nudity, big whoop. Let's all move on.
Yeah, right.
Take my nudity. I'm fine with it, provided the lights are off and everyone's eyes are shut. It's nudity. Let's all move on.
Nobody's paying $7 to see your nude photos, Sean.
No, they're not.
We're now in the car with Garcelle, and she goes and she picks up Denise, and they head to Taco Tuesday. Denise asks if she's going to see Erika, and Garcelle says, oh, I'm sure you will. I think she wants to hear your laundry list. And Denise actually kind of looked visibly distressed when Garcelle said this, oh, shit.
She did.
I was like, oh, poor Denise. Protect our national treasure.
Don't you hurt her.
No. In Dorit and Kyle's car, Dorit is upset that Kyle hasn't been sharing with her as to what she's been up to, and tells Kyle that she feels like an afterthought and that maybe she needs to put her initial on her body for Kyle to care. Dorit tells us in her talking head that her and Kyle used to go on a couple of trips a year together, and now they don't go on any. And I was like, do you think she's including the cast trips?
I do think she's including the cast trips.
So they're not really just trips with her and Kyle. They're group trips. Kyle tells us that she hasn't reached out to Dorit recently because Dorit didn't have her back at the reunion with Kathy, because in private, Dorit was on Kyle's side, but in public, it was a different tune. I was like, oh, I see. So you can only be friends with her if she's on your side?
And also, why are you holding the grudge? Right? That's the other thing, too. It's like, just go close the hatchet. You guys have been friends for a long time. Don't do this weird
I don't
thing.
think they were, like, real friends, though. Like,
they were traveling together on company trips.
On group trips.
They work for the same company.
True. Dorit talks about how Kyle is morphing into Morgan. Crystal is getting ready for everybody to come over to Taco Tuesday, and she tells us that it is better to have way more food than not enough. And I think she needs to tell this to Erin from the reboot of Roni, because that woman never had like any food at her events.
No, she said if you don't have enough food and people aren't taking food home,
you're a bad host.
You're not a good host.
And I was like, yeah, Erin Litchke is, I think that's her last name. She's a bad host. We then get to meet Nia, who is one of Crystal's friends, and it turns out she is also Bill Burr's wife. And I'm like, wouldn't it be amazing to have her as a housewife and have Bill Burr as a house husband?
I actually thought that initially, but then the more I got to listen to Nia, Bill, I'm sorry, brother, I love you, but you started fading into the distance. I'd like to actually get to know Nia a little more. She was smart, she was funny.
Yeah. Get rid of Anne-Marie. Bring in Nia.
Okay, that was you. I didn't say that, everyone, okay? That was, Sideshow Sean did not say that, right? That was Mel. I wonder if you were watching a trial.
I kind of got that because it seemed like Dorit was trying to pull Anne-Marie into the conversation.
Do this. Keep Anne-Marie. Get rid of Dorito.
Yeah, get rid of Dorit.
Boring anyways.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't like DK very. And I do
No, he's a shyster.
I am a fan of Bill Burr, but this wouldn't be about
We saw him live, right?
We did.
Was that here in D.C. or was it in Vegas?
Washington, D.C.
Yeah, it was in D.C.
It was a great show.
It was. That was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Dorit and Kyle arrive, and we see Dorit helping Crystal out by giving her boobs an adjustment in her dress. She's like, you have one that's going east and one that's going west. And she reaches down into Crystal's dress and adjusts them. She's like, okay, cool, thanks. I was like, okay.
It was weird.
Not really. If I have one nipple going this way and one nipple going this way, and I notice it in my shirt, I absolutely stick my hand down in my bra and I fix my tit.
Huh, really? I thought they just always point forward.
No. I gotta put them there.
Otherwise they're just like googly eyeballs. They just end up
one's this way, one's
looking
up, one's
in your
looking
bra
down.
every which way. You're like a lizard eyes looking up north and south at the same time.
Oh my god, is it a chameleon that does that? Oh my god. So Nia tells Dorit and Kyle that she's met them before at Crystal's stripper party, and for some reason Dorit decides to tell Nia about how Sutton had a meltdown at the Magic Mike show when they were there all together, and Nia's like, why? And Dorit's like, you should ask her that tonight. And I'm like, what are you doing, Dorit? Does Nia know Sutton? I don't think so, because she's like, one of our girls melted down. She didn't say Sutton like she knew her. So why would she tell Nia to ask somebody she's never met before why she had a meltdown at Magic Mike?
So I am always of the opinion that Dorit does what she's told.
True.
True.
It makes me wonder if maybe they are auditioning Nia.
Yeah.
Because why would she tell somebody who's never met Sutton to ask her that? Garcelle and Denise finally arrive, and then Erika arrives. Erika starts to complain that she doesn't want to get sick by going outside. And I was like, that's not how that works, Erika. Nope. You have to be exposed to a virus to get sick, not just cold air. That is an old wives' tale.
Yep.
Sutton arrives, and she is wearing summer dress. While it's cold out. And I do have to say that as far as Sutton's fashion goes, I kind of liked her dress, though it did look out of place considering everybody was wearing warm clothing and she just comes breezing in a sundress. Like it's in the middle of the summer and it's warm outside, but
she loves the sundress.
In terms of the actual dress, I thought it was cute. Dorit, of course, gives us her 2 cents and says, why is Sutton dressed like that at Taco Tuesday? And I was like, oh my God, Dorit. Because we've seen you decked out in designer labels from head to toe to go to like coffee. I'm like, who are you to talk? All of a sudden now you're like...
Dorito had a bad night.
Oh my God, she really did have a bad night. So they go inside to eat. Kim arrives. We find out that Dorit tried to poach Avi, Sutton's assistant. Dorit says, I was not trying to poach him. And when are you going to stop accusing me of things I didn't do? Sutton's like, when are you going to stop accusing me of putting vodka in my coffee?
And then she said she didn't drink coffee.
Yes, she said she didn't drink coffee. She didn't deny the vodka part.
No.
She denied not drinking coffee.
Don't you dare accuse her of drinking that coffee.
Erika then tells Dorit about how her, Sutton, and Garcelle had all gone out the other night and had a great time. Erika brings up how Garcelle had told them that Sutton had made out with her driver, and she says it really loud, and like the whole room kind of hears, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Sutton's like, I might have accidentally made out with my driver, and it was like a makeout session like they do in Happy Days. I was like, oh my God. You guys, Sean does the same shit. He'll refer to something literally from like 50 years ago, and everybody's like, what?
No, I'm with Sutton. Happy Days, she's spot on. Go, well done, Sutton.
Dorit's like, you just took something that was supposed to be sexy and made it as
super sexy,
unsexy as possible. Yeah, Happy Days, so
the
sexy.
Fonz.
Oh my God. Although I will say,
Richie,
that actor Harry Winkler is fucking hilarious Henry Winkler in Barry.
Barry.
Oh my God, is he funny?
Henry Winkler is incredible in that show.
Oh my God, he is so funny.
He is so good in that show.
Dorit,
no refunds.
Dorit then goes and sits by Garcelle and whispers that she feels like Crystal is trying to stir up shit between her and Sutton. And Dorit tells us in her talking head that Crystal doesn't say much, but when she does, she stirs the pot, which is fine, but she needs to balance it out with something else. Garcelle's like, yeah, I think we all need to sit down and air out our grievances. So everybody's sitting in the family room, and Sutton is telling the group of ladies that her horse just finally got his apartment. And Nia's like, do you mean a barn? And she's like, well, I call it an apartment. So she's talking about her horse, and then Nia asks her what happened in Vegas at the Magic Mike show. And I was like, oh, Nia is actually doing what Dorit asked her to do. So I'm like, that even more makes me think that, like, she's auditioning.
We're on an interview.
Yeah. Sutton's like, I didn't like the way Erika had her legs spread with the dancer between them. And Nia says to Dorit, we're getting the story now, because Dorit is, like, sitting across the room with Garcelle.
And I thought that was a little odd, too, because, like, normally Sutton's pretty uptight about that. And she actually just...
Yeah, she kind of just
person she didn't even know.
Yeah, she didn't say like, well, who are you? You don't know me. Oh, Sutton tells them that she doesn't know why she has to keep explaining herself. I was not in a good headspace that night, so I ended up ruining the whole night. So thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Garcelle then asks Nia how she knew about that. So it was actually Garcelle that was like, why are you asking her about that? Nia's like, oh, I was just talking with the girls, and they were talking about how they went to Magic Mike and how one of them did not like the show. But she obviously knew it was Sutton because she asked Sutton directly. So it wasn't one of the girls, it was Sutton. Sutton then starts talking about how she really didn't want to be there and she was really uncomfortable. And Dorit points out, well, you had a stack of singles, which she did. I will also agree with Dorit in this way that, like, Sutton definitely was excited to go to Magic Mike, and she did not get mad until she didn't get called on the stage. Dorit didn't say that.
That stack of ones wasn't for charity.
No. She's like, oh, that was just for fun. And so they all laugh, and then...
And it was fun, Sutton, until you weren't picked.
Yeah.
And you felt embarrassed by not being picked.
Or mad or whatever.
And then to your point... you ruined the night.
Yeah. Dorit then brings up how Sutton made out with her driver for some reason. I don't know why she brings that up. Garcelle's like, well, why did you say that? That was supposed to be between me, Erika, and Sutton. And now I feel like you're saying it to embarrass her, which I think she did too.
She was trying to deflect.
Right. That Sutton was like...
the negative attention on someone else.
Exactly. Sutton starts to explain what happened with her driver. Dorit's like, I didn't say it in a judgmental way. And then we get a repeated question from Sutton. Then why'd you bring it up? Why'd you bring it up? The reminiscent of name 'em, like over and over and over. And I'm like, oh my God, Sutton, you get like stuck in this loop.
No, she knows what she's doing.
Once or twice, but like she did it, I don't know how many times.
Well, to Kyle, she was like 7-8 times.
She was doing it into Sutton as well. And Dorit's like, stop repeating the question and let me answer.
Yeah.
And Kyle, Erika, and Crystal are all in the kitchen and they start hearing, what's going on. So they make their way out. Dorit claims that she said it because they were just going back and forth and it was just playful, which I don't really see how their back and forth was really playful. I definitely feel like Dorit was trying to, well, actually, Dorit didn't start it. She did start it by having Nia ask Sutton about Magic Mike.
And she set Nia
And then she did set Nia up, but Nia did it. And then Nia pulled her in by saying, she's telling us the story. And then...
Wow. In Nia's defense, she was on a job interview.
True. And then Dorit talked about her making out with her driver, which had absolutely nothing to do with the Las Vegas story. So it's like, well, why did you just bring that up?
More deflection.
Yeah. It was...
And it all backfired. Like I said,
totally backfired.
Dorito had a bad
She really did. I think she's like, oh shit, I'm like losing my spot on this show. Kyle doesn't talk to me anymore. Everyone's coming for me.
PK's going to jail.
Why is he going to jail?
Oh, I don't know.
He's not.
Well,
as far as I know.
PK's broke as hell.
He's broke, as in he has
go.
no money. Garcelle then tells Dorit that she feels like she was trying to embarrass Sutton in front of this group of women, which I also felt as well. Dorit in her talking head says, why was it okay for Erika to scream across the room about Sutton making out with her driver, but it was not okay for me to say it? And I was like, well, wait a minute. That was different. It was Erika, Garcelle, Sutton, and Dorit standing in a tiny little group in a giant room of women, right? And Erika just said it loudly, but she was just saying it to the four of them. They were telling Dorit about how she made out with her driver. When Dorit repeated it, she had the whole room's captive audience.
Well, she was talking directly to people who really didn't even know.
Right. There was no reason for her to say that. And she told the whole room.
When I said it to Erika, we were all having a good time.
We were.
And I apologize because I didn't know that was going to bring up this.
But we are having a good time, you guys. This was not
If you
said
have
as
to
a
say it like that, we're not having a good time.
I'm saying that because you just attacked me.
I did not attack you. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. I did not attack you.
Like that was a attack.
This girl, Dorit, lives in a bit of a bubble. Just triggers me. We live in a world now. We're aware, we're woke, whatever you want to say, and I feel like she's not in that world. Just for the record, I didn't attack you. We were having a conversation.
Okay, but it felt like you were suggesting that I was deliberately trying to hurt her and
I wasn't
embarrass her.
suggesting. I actually said it.
Exactly.
Right, but that's not an attack.
It feels...
There's a different thing than an attack.
Garcelle, okay.
No,
I don't mean
listen.
attack. What's a good word?
I don't know
What's
what's a
a better
good word with, but I feel like for you and your privilege, I can't.
What does that mean?
It means you're white and the words are different. They have different connotations. They have different meanings. Okay? The word of attack has a different meaning when it comes from a white woman to a black woman. It just does. I don't think Dorit meant to hurt Garcelle, but it does hurt Garcelle.
So I have to say, I agree. Garcelle absolutely did not attack Dorit. I don't know why Dorit chose that word, but she did. So Dorit apologizes to Garcelle and tells her that she didn't mean to offend her and that she would love to have a conversation later. And Garcelle's like, I'm good. I don't need to educate you. Crystal then says, can we get a download of what happened? Because they were in the kitchen. And Denise explains that Dorit said that Sutton made out with her driver. And Dorit's like, it was a joke. Dorit then turns to Crystal and says, you told me that Sutton puts vodka in her coffee. And then we see the clip of her saying that. And I was like, wow, again, Dorit deflecting off to somebody else. Crystal tries to think of how to word it correctly. She's like, well, you did, but, and then as she's saying it, Sutton interjects and basically says, go ahead and continue to talk about me while I go on to do other things because I am moving forward at a very rapid speed. Dorit's like, I apologize. And Denise says, I think it came off as judgmental. Dorit once again tries to deflect and ask Denise if she's cleared up her issues with Erika. And Erika's like, no, we haven't, pot stirrer. Denise tells
And
her...
I mean, at this point, Dorito's like a sprinkler.
She's just like anything to
she's
get
just
the
shooting
attention off
shade
of her.
in every direction,
know.
and it wasn't working. We were just watching her struggle last night.
Oh, man. It was like... I was like, dude, just pack it up.
It was like watching the villain at the end of a movie fight that last fight while the heroes come in and just
Yeah,
you're done.
beat on her. Denise tells her to bring it down a notch. Dorit decides it's time for her
That
to go.
was incredible.
Yeah, it was. She was like, bring it down
a notch. That's from Denise Richards. You know you crossed the line.
It crossed the line
Yeah.
when Denise
When
tells
Denise
you.
is the voice of reason in the room, the shit's gone to hell.
Dorit decides, you know what? It's time for me to go, which is... She probably should have left like a good hour before she actually...
She stayed way longer
I
than
mean,
I would've.
wow. So she gets up and she leaves. Denise tells Erika that she wants to have this conversation. And Erika's like, I don't want to have it. You had your chance at Kyle's party. You came. You had an agenda. You called me a bitch. And I apologized to you. And you continued to call me a bot monster. Or something like that. Kyle had it mixed up as to exactly what she said. And then she's like, but it was fine. I'm okay.
So what are you upset about?
First of all, to insinuate that my daughters at 14 years old would have had a threesome, I think is beyond inappropriate. You're shaking your head.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head because that's not what it was about. Children these days, if they have a phone, I have access to everything. Of course they know
This was
about
my
sex.
kids, though.
Okay, your oldest daughter's on OnlyFans. She doesn't know?
That is a low blow to bring up my daughter's OnlyFans.
You came in slurring, inarticulate, could not string two words together, and wanted to call me a bitch, and you want me to sit here and pretend like it didn't happen? What do you think, I'm not going to go to OnlyFans? You think I'm not going to go as low as I can? Have you met me? No.
Oh, yeah,
All right, so here we are.
You are a mean woman.
Because you asked for it.
No, I did not.
Well, then you shouldn't have come up into her house acting like a bitch, and then we
You
wouldn't be
shouldn't
here.
have acted like a bitch.
What, 4 years ago when nobody remembers?
You are mean.
I think it's great. I just want to know who's more profitable, you or Sammy?
That was amazing.
Was a moment of magic.
I mean, I saw it coming like a slow car accident, and I was like, no, protect Denise at all costs. But it was like you reached out for her, and she slipped through your fingers. And then I was like, well, now I'm just going to have to sit and watch.
I was like every karate coach at every karate movie yelling, finish him!
Oh, my God. I was like, it was literally like watching like...
I had goosebumps when she asked them who's more profitable.
Oh, my God. I was like, bravo.
We'll slow clap that one in.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to sit back and like watch a
the
villain be
magic.
a villain because
Ooh, do you
Erika,
know who I am?
I know.
No. But now we're here.
Anyway, poor Denise Richards, and she didn't know what to say. She was like, "You are a mean," and Erika just like unlatched her jaw.
Swallowed her whole. Spat out the bones.
Oh, poor Denise. Anyway, that is how the episode ends. And I don't think we got a next time because next week there is no episode. So this is actually our last recap until next year. So I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday and a Happy New Year. I hope everybody has a very prosperous 2024. So we will talk to you guys next year.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Bye.